Hello, class. Welcome to the introductory lecture on Stat 211. First things first, welcome. I am your instructor for this course. My name is Samantha Service. A little bit about me so you know who's going to be talking in your year all semester. I am a full-time statistician at NIOSH, which is part of the CDC. I do live here in Morgantown. I went to graduate school here at WVU, and during graduate school, I started teaching classes, and then I just never really stopped. So that's why I'm here. It's definitely something that I enjoy, and hopefully, you will come to love statistics as much as I do. In this introductory lecture, I do want to talk about a couple of things, mostly just how this course is going to run and how you can get access to everything. We'll get into the true introduction to statistics during the next lecture where we actually get into material and content. So let's take a look at eCampus. There's going to be two websites you use to access this course this semester. One, eCampus, which you're super familiar with, and the other one's Pearson's MyLab or MyStatLab. You'll see me use both terms interchangeably. When I started doing this as a grad student, it was referred to as MyStatLab, but they've kind of changed it to MyLab and taken out the stat part, so that's why you'll hear me use both. All right, so when it comes to most of your, I'll say classroom content, you're going to find that under eCampus, where in the eCampus shell for Stat 211, you can open it on up. And the first thing that should pop up is the announcements. I don't have any announcements at this stage, but you'll certainly have a welcome announcement probably at the time you're viewing this video, possibly even two. In general, how I like to use this announcement page is I send out an announcement once a week, and I'll send it both here and to your emails, and just give you an idea of what's going on for the week, what you should be learning, what assignments you should be completing. I'll send this out sometime on Monday, and then you'll have until Sunday at 11:59 p.m. to get everything accomplished. Under the announcements section, we do have the course information. We're going to take a look at this because that's kind of the purpose of this lecture video, is to really go through a lot of this course information. So first things first is the course syllabus. You know what? I'm going to take a moment here. I'm going to switch this into student preview mode because that'll help for you to see things the way that you see them, not the way I see them. So let's see. Under course information, first things first, taking a look at the online course syllabus. So taking a look at our syllabus, making sure you're in the right place, Stat 211, elementary statistical inference, prerequisite of Math 122 or Math 124 or an advanced placement. I do recognize that not an insignificant portion of you are freshmen. This is a 3-credit course. Just to emphasize kind of what I've already said, you should be checking your mix email every day, just in case something comes up and I need to make an announcement. You'll definitely see an email from me either Monday or possibly Sunday saying, you know, what you should be working on for the week. But just in case, keep an eye on your mix accounts. Make sure nothing else pops up. Required materials for this course. Students are required to purchase MyStatLab Access, which will be linked into our own learning system, which contains the e-text and all of your assignments. You can get an access code through the WVU bookstore. I do not recommend doing that option. With all the respect to the bookstore, I've experienced over the past 10, not 10 years, oh my gosh, no, 5 years plus, that there's been a lot of issues with students getting access codes from the bookstore. Just a lot of times, for some reason, they seem to not work. Um, and so just to avoid that problem, I recommend just getting the access code directly through Pearson, and I will kind of walk you through how to do that. And it certainly isn't going to be more expensive to do that. If anything, it would be the cheaper option going directly through the publisher itself. Required textbook is, at this time, the Intro to Stats, 5th edition. We have the ISBN number. Everything in this course is purely electronic. You do not have to purchase a physical textbook. If you want to purchase one, there are options. I will say that it does cost more, but the option is available. Course description, basic concepts of descriptive statistics and inferential statistics, descriptive measures, random variables, sampling distributions, estimation, test of hypothesis, chi-square test, regression, and correlation. If you are saying, I have no idea what some of those things are, or even all of them, do not panic. That's the reason you're taking this course. And if you knew what every single one of those things were, you probably wouldn't need to take this course. This is the GEF course. Here's the course information. We do have some expected learning outcomes, and it's just more detailed information that was covered under the course description. Basically, at the end of this course, we want you to be able to generate and interpret descriptive data and graphical summaries of data, calculate and interpret a correlation coefficient, fit and interpret the results of a linear model, apply the basics principles of probability and sampling distributions, construct and interpret confidence intervals for means and proportions, conduct and interpret the results of large and small sample hypothesis tests for means and proportions, and perform and interpret the results of chi-square test using contingency tables. Again, if you know what some of these things are, great. If you know what none of them are, that's the whole purpose, so no need to panic. The most important thing, and probably the main reason you're even listening to this lecture, is to talk about evaluation. How are you going to be assessed? What is expected of you? How can you get the grade you want? So assessment. In this online version of this course, we have homework, quizzes, exams. There are pretty much, with a few exceptions, every lecture that I do corresponds to a homework assignment. Today's lecture is an exception. There is no homework assignment attached to it. So there really is actually about 23 homework assignments, which does sound like a lot, but again, each little lecture video does correspond to a homework assignment. And then about every other week, with the exception of weeks we have exams, there's going to be a quiz. The quiz is, there's 5 of them. The quizzes are 30 minutes in length and have about 6 questions on them. Their purpose is to help make sure that you're building fluency and to assess that you are keeping up with the material. And for me, I also put them in as well, to be frank, I've taught this class in person, and usually we have participation activities, and this is kind of filling that hole where we used to have class participation activities. There used to be one every week. It would be for 150 points total or 15% of the grade. You guys don't have that, so kind of filling in that gap without putting more pressure on your exams, I decided to do these quizzes. As far as exams go, there are 4 exams, 3 midterms and a final. Each of the midterm exams are worth 100 points or 10% of your grade, and the final exam is worth 20% of your grade. And we can talk more about the exams as we go through the syllabus and, of course, the score. As far as the grading scale goes, I do guarantee a 90, 80, 70, 60 as far as assigning A, B, C, D letter grades. Anything below a 60% will earn a failing grade. Talking about the assignments, homework assignments are going to be found on Pearson's MyLab. which you will have direct access through via eCampus. Jumping ahead a little. So this link right here, this tab that says Pearson's MyLab, that's where you'll be able to access your homework, quizzes, exams, your e-textbook, things of that nature. Most of this is just saying that you have to go through the link on eCampus. You can't try to go somewhere else. It doesn't always work that way. For your homework assignments, you will have unlimited attempts to complete the assignment until the due date. What does happen though is that if you put an answer in incorrectly 3 times, the system will kind of mark the question wrong, but after you finish the problem, you'll have the option to do a similar question, which is literally just the same question with different numbers in, and you can still complete it for full credit. So when it comes to your homework, I really encourage people to just do your homework and get 100% every single time, because you absolutely have the ability to do that, because you can do it again and again until it's perfect. What generally happens, as I mentioned, I post either Sunday or Monday for what you should be working on this week. It'll include the lecture video and the corresponding homework assignment. And you'll have all week to complete those. So your assignment is due by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. and that is when your homework assignment is due for full credit. For the week after, you can still complete the homework assignment, but it does have a 30% penalty. So if something happens, you're still able to complete the homework assignment. I do understand sometimes life happens, things get busy. Hopefully you can get 100% on every single homework assignment, but if not, you can still have the option to complete the homework assignment for a 30% penalty. As I mentioned, there are quizzes throughout the semester. We'll take a look at the schedule to kind of show you exactly where they are. Quizzes are going to kind of operate the same as the homework policy. You'll have a week to work on the quiz. It'll cover the material since either the last quiz or the last exam. And you'll have a full week to complete it for full credit, and then you can take it the following week with a 30% penalty. The quizzes are timed. You will have 30 minutes to complete the quizzes, and there are all about 6 questions. I say about because as I'm making this video, each quiz is 6 questions, but in case something happens and that changes, I will say about. Exams. Obviously, there are quite a few exams throughout the semester, 4 of them in total, 4 midterms, and 1 final. Again, we'll take a look at the schedule so you know when those exams are going to be taking place. I do not do late opportunities for exams. The reason is because we do have a nice missed exam policy. If you have to miss an exam for a university excused absence or something legitimately happens, you are allowed to make up 1 exam. It'll be the last week of class, and you will need to do it in person at the WVU Testing Center in Hodges Hall. If for whatever reason you missed more than 1 exam, then that second exam is going to be 0. This does not count for the final. This is strictly for the midterm exam. So if you miss an exam throughout the semester, this is obviously the time we're going to make this up. Your midterm grades will have at least 1 exam and a significant amount of quizzes and homework assignments on it. So it should be a pretty good indicator how you're doing in the class thus far. As far as testing procedures and academic dishonesty, I will leave you to read these things, but essentially do what's right, be good people, don't cheat, work hard. If you have a problem, that's what they're paying me for. So definitely ask me for help. There are tutors, so there's really no reason for you to cheat, especially on things like your homework where you can do the questions again and again. Quizzes and exams, they're based on the homework. And so you have a really good chance of doing well in this class, but please be honest about it. Of course, there is the institutional policies. Again, I will leave you to read that. Inclusivity statement. West Virginia community is committed, to creating and fostering a positive learning and working environment based on open communication, mutual respect, and inclusion. If you're a person with a disability and participate needing any type of accommodation in order to participate in your classes, please advise me, your instructor, or any other instructors if you have concerns about another class, and make sure you're making appropriate arrangements with the Office of Accessibility Services. If you're one of those people that have accommodations, please send me an email to let me know. It is very easy to do extensions for time for the quizzes and exams, but I do need to know that I need to make those. So open communication is definitely something I really hope you feel comfortable doing. Again, more academic dishonesty. Please just be honest. It's a ton of work to have to deal with academic dishonesty, and honestly, it just isn't happy for any person involved. So let's not do that. COVID-19 statement. I do have this in here. It doesn't really apply to this class because this is an online class, and unless you specifically have a reason you want to meet in person, then we can talk about like what makes everybody comfortable as far as illness is at that point. But generally that one is not going to apply for us too much unless you have COVID, which then more policies about like, missing assignments kind of falls into play for that more than attendance policies. So that's the major highlights of the syllabus. Of course, if you have any questions or concerns, definitely shoot me an email. I'm going to skip the other parts of the course information right now because now seems like a good opportunity to very quickly click on the instructor information. So instructor information, here is a not entirely recent, but mostly recent picture of me. I think it was taken last summer. But basically, how to contact me. This has my email, office hours. I say by appointment only because this is an online class, so it's not as easy because I do know that some of you are working jobs, you have various schedules, some of you aren't even in Morgantown, so let's just leave it as by appointment, and if you need to meet for some reason, send me an email and we can set up a Zoom or Teams meetings. I don't have an office located on campus, so if we really do need to meet in person, we might have to kind of find either a neutral location like the Stats Tutoring Center or the library or a coffee shop or something. So moving back to course information, we've taken a look at the syllabus. Let's take a look at the course schedule because I'm sure that's the next thing you're probably most curious about if you haven't looked at it already. So course schedule. I have this course set up by week, lecture number, topic, book sections, corresponding assignment, and then what assignment is due for the week. So this is our first week. The only thing we're looking at is the course syllabus and expectations that we're going through right now. The only thing you need to do for this week is to create your Pearson account. And again, we'll get into that more in a moment. Next week, we'll start doing our Introductory to Statistics lecture. So lecture 1, Introduction to Statistics. It covers chapters 1.1 to 1.4, and homework 1 corresponds to that lecture and that book section. You'll also have, beyond that lecture, we'll be also looking at displaying and describing data, which is chapter 2.1 to 2.2, and its corresponding homework is homework 2. So next week, which will be a more normal week for us, I'll send out an email saying, hello class, for this week you should be watching these 2 lecture videos, reading these book sections, and completing homework 1 and 2 by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. You'll notice with very few exceptions that pretty much you have 2 lectures a week. And the reason for this is I do teach this class in person. Sometimes I'm not at this current semester, but I have in the past and probably will in the future. And I've always taught it 2 days a week, so like a Tuesday, Thursday, Monday, Wednesday, and so I have the class set up for that. And so that's why you have 2 lecture videos a week. You can think of it as this would be Tuesday, this would be Thursday, and so on. So next week, 2 lectures, 2 homeworks. Week 3, 2 lectures, 2 homeworks, and a quiz. The quiz will cover homeworks 1 through 4. Week 4, 2 lectures, 2 homeworks. Following week 5, 2 lectures, 2 homeworks, and a quiz. And that quiz will cover the material from, or rather since, the previous quiz. Going through week 6, review for an exam. So I do a lecture that goes over just briefly, like kind of broad strokes of what to expect. So I don't have a chapter section because it's all the ones we've covered. There isn't any specifically assigned homework, but I will show you that I do have practice exams for you to complete to help you get ready for that. And so for that week, you'll have 1 lecture and 1 homework assignment due. It's not covered on the exam, but we have to keep the trains rolling. So you do have your exam for that week. And essentially the same pattern generally continues on that whole time, where each week, 2 lectures, 2 homeworks with periodics, quizzes, and exams. 5 quizzes, 4 exams, all the way to finals week. One of the few exceptions is week 8 is when you have that fall break, which is technically at the end of the week. So for that week, there is only 1 lecture video, 1 homework, but it is just the way things happen. It is a week where we do have a quiz. Hopefully isn't a problem, and if not, you can always take advantage of doing the assignment for a 30% penalty. So that's the course schedule. If you have questions, comments, or concerns, as always, please send me an email. So under our course schedule is the Pearson's registration instruction. I mentioned that this course operates with basically on 2 different websites. eCampus, which has these course information stuff. It's going to have your course content like your lecture slides, your lecture videos, but as far as your textbook and homework assignments, that's all on Pearson. So let's pull up the Pearson registration instructions. So how do we open up and get access to a Pearson account? So first things first, log into Blackboard as a student and enter in the course. So open into your Stat 211 course. Depending on your course setup, you're going to have to do one of the following and basically select the content area provided by your instructor. You'll see where I have it marked as Pearson's Math Lab. We'll open up that link, select Open My Lab and Mastering, and then from there you can create an account. So essentially what these instructions are telling you to do is select this link that says Pearson's My Lab. Now my system's already set up, so oh no, we're having difficulty responding to your request. Okay, let's try this again. I've never actually seen that before, so that's interesting. Hopefully it doesn't do it again. Although it might be affected by the fact that, yeah, I'm wondering if it's, the system could be down. That does happen occasionally. Or is it because I'm on student preview method? And so it's not going into my account. Let's find out. Pearson's My Lab. Yeah, that was it. Okay, so mine doesn't look exactly the same as yours, but you will see something that looks like this that says Open My Lab and Mastering. You'll select it, and the first time you try to do this, it will prompt you to create a username and password. After that, you'll kind of see what I see, where you just have to hit Open My Lab and Mastering. and your course will pop up. So first things first, creating the account. I highly recommend using your Mix email. That does tend to keep things easier. Pick a easy password that you won't forget. Although I think with this system, pretty much once you make your password the first time, because you're able to go through eCampus, you don't always, I don't think you actually have to use it again, but don't quote me on that. I don't have to use it very often, and so I frequently forget my Pearson password. If you do, no big deal, happens all the time. It's super easy to just change your password and have the system reset. But yes, so open MyLab Mastering, you'll be prompted to create a user account. Again, I recommend using your Mix account. Keeps things easier. Through there, it'll ask for you to either have a access code or you can put in a credit card information and purchase the course right then and there. I recommend the credit card option because I think it's cheaper, or at the very least, it's the same price as the bookstore, but it's definitely a guaranteed way that you're not going to run into problems. So again, if you get stuck, the instructions are here. And if you get super stuck, send me an email. We can definitely walk through it. I've certainly walked through people through it enough, and it takes about 10 minutes to do. So beyond going to course information, under the Pearson registration instruction, there is a link to my Google Drive, just in case you have problems, eCampus is down, whatever. I do have a link to my Google Drive where I have all the lectures and a few other little tidbits. I'm not exactly sure what that exam 3 review is, so I'll have to take a look at that before you guys take your exam 3. All right, underneath the Google Drive is the Statistics Tutoring Center information. There is tutoring available on campus. It is free. You can go to this link. We see mathematics and statistics tutors. This is a statistics class, so go to the statistics section. The Statistics Tutoring Center is in Island Hall G29. Basically, tutors available for this course. All tutors can help you with this course. There is no appointment needed. You can drop in anytime. It is closed during finals week because these are students and students have to take finals as well. As far as the schedule goes, if you click on this link, it'll pop up the schedule to see when the center is opened. So going back then to, I'm going to skip Pearson MyLab for right now and go to course content. So looking at course content, I once again have a link to my Google Drive. It's the same link as under course information, but doesn't hurt to have it in multiple locations because you can always access the lecture slides there. So I'm going to select this option that says lectures, PowerPoint version, and here are all the lectures for the semester. You pretty much have these organized same ways as it is in the course schedule where, 2 lectures per week. Sometimes I have it written as lecture 1 and lecture 2.1, 2.2. Those numbers can correspond to the chapter, and I'm sure at some point I will try to make that more uniform. I think I pretty much have chapter everywhere except for a couple exceptions, like 4 exceptions, but they are definitely for the corresponding chapter. Also under contents is the lecture videos. Currently I'm making said lecture videos, so that folder is blank, but it will not be blank as we go through this semester. Tentatively, I am planning on uploading these to a YouTube channel. Just again, sometimes technology isn't cooperating. So just like I have multiple avenues for you to have lecture to the lecture slides, I also want you to have the ability to access the lecture videos in at least 2 formats. That way, if one format's not working for you, you can still access the videos on another one. All right, so now we can talk about Pearson. So again, quick recap. For eCampus page, that's where you'll find announcements, any of that basic course information you need, all here. But most thing you'll use it for is to watch the lecture videos and download any of the PowerPoints. Under Pearson's MyLab, open MyLab and Mastering. And you will see Pearson's homepage. So the homepage will say something like, welcome back. I pretty much ignore this page. It's usually just telling you what assignments are coming, which ones are due, what your current grade is, things like that. Underneath there, you have course syllabus, course schedule, same thing as are on the eCampus page, but if you're in this system and you're like, oh, hey, I want to see what's coming up or I need to check on something, these are here for your purview. The one you'll probably be most interested in is assignments. Under here, the assignments tab is where you'll have the ability to click on your assignments. None of the assignments are live at the moment that I am making this video, but they will. You'll be able to click on the homework assignment just to kind of give you an idea. I'm going to give you a preview of what homework 1, chapter 1 looks like. And so here's what your homework and the same formatting for your quizzes and your exams are going to look like. Screen will pop up. You'll have the question numbers on the side and the main question in the body. You can flip through if you want. Some questions are fill in the blank, some are multiple choice, some are select the best or select all. It varies based on what we're learning about. Kind of show you how this works. Let's take a look at this question. A medical researcher measures the increase in heart rate of patients who are taking a stress test. What kind of variable is the researcher studying? And we have 4 options: categorical, ordinal, identifier, and quantitative. And so I'm going to select a random, what I know to be an incorrect option, because I want to show you how that looks. If I hit check answer and the answer is not correct, it'll say that's not correct. It'll give kind of an explanation for you, and you can say, okay, I'm going to select another incorrect answer with an ordinal one, and it'll say final check, and it'll say that's incorrect. You answered this way. You should have answered this way. And you can say check, try again, or next question. So obviously, as I mentioned, you can do this as many times as you want until you get it right. So I'm going to hit try again. Again, this case, because we don't have any numbers, it's essentially the same question. Medical researcher measures the increase in heart rate of patients who are taking a stress test. What kind of variable is the researcher studying? All right, that's going to be a quantitative variable. Check answer. Excellent. Next question. And so where I had a red X before, I now have a green check mark. I want to see if there's any ones that actually deal with numbers on the first homework assignment. I want to say there isn't. And why that's important, I'll show you in a minute. But if you need assistance, there are accessibilities, on-screen keyboards, help center, and the fantastic and most wonderful little link here for StatCrunch. StatCrunch is kind of an Excel program that works directly with Pearson. It is a very user-friendly point-and-click software. So much of the statistics, the math part that you have to do can actually be done here in StatCrunch. And I'll show you how to use this throughout the semester, but I did kind of want to expose you to where you can access StatCrunch while you're doing the homework. Just so you kind of have an idea of how like friendly this is. So I'm going to type in a random data set, so 370371. And to find, say, the mean, standard deviations, things like that, I can go to Stat, Summary Stat. I put all the data in a column, so I'm going to select column. I'm in variable 1 column. Hit compute, and there I have the sample size, the mean, variance, standard deviation, and the median, the range, the minimum value, the maximum value, quartile 1, 3, whole 9 yards. So this system is really pretty awesome when we're doing statistics, and it definitely saves a lot of time trying to calculate things by hand. Because at this point, a lot of the statistics that you work on, I know you can do the math. I'm testing you on the content itself a lot of times. So StatCrunch is a tool that I highly encourage you to use and take advantage of. Okay, so yeah, going to the bottom, I was looking for a question that had numbers, but this one helps. So if you're stuck, one of the options here at the bottom beyond StatCrunch is textbook, and it will pop up your eText. I'll show you another way you can have access at it here in a minute, but here is one way to access your textbook. All right, so I am going to exit out of this homework. I'm going to try, let's see. Yeah, I'll try the homework 3 because I really wanted to show you one where there were numbers in so I can show you, oops, nope, not assignment settings. Preview, that's what I was looking for. Okay, here we are. All right, finally, one that has numbers in that you need to like type in content. All right, so this question is asking basically for you to calculate the mean, median, quartiles, range, and IQR. One great thing about the problems in StatCrunch, except for the ones that are like multiple choice that we were looking at for the homework 1, is at the bottom of your homework, there are options that say, help me solve this and view an example. So if you're super stuck, you don't even know where to get started, one thing you can do is select the view the example option. It'll give you a question that is similar to the homework question you're solving, and it will literally give you an example and explain, how you would even go about solving this problem, the answers, working it out. Basically, fully worked out example of the problem. If you're still super stuck and you're like, man, I need someone to really walk me through this one, you have the option that says, help me solve this. And the help me solve this option is kind of similar to the view the example option, only this time it's using the question that you had for homework and will help you step by step walk through it. There is one thing about it though, is it doesn't give you credit for completing the homework problem if you do the help me solve this. So you still have to go back and solve the homework problem independently. But if you're really, really stuck, the help me solve this option is great. Generally though, because it does then make you resolve the problem completely on your own, I always recommend trying to do the view the example first if you're stuck, because then you can kind of follow along with the example in your own problem without having any consequences to your grade. but that's just my advice. Do what works for you. Either way, these are really great tools to have. You do not have the show completed option. That's just for the teacher version, so I can just feel it real quick like, okay, what's the final answer? All right, so going back. So looking at the main Pearson page, course home, course syllabus, course schedule, assignments, has all the assignments you're going to be accessing. Underneath is student gradebook. Yours will look something like this. It'll have your assignment. This is where underneath it'll review. There'll be an icon that says review that'll allow you to look over your homework, look over your quizzes, look over your exams. It'll give you your score. It'll let you know how long you spent on the assignment. Yes, I can see that too. And the time you started and the time you worked. Underneath your gradebook is StatCrunch. I just showed you how to access that through your homework, but you can go through this page. There are two options. If you are using if you're using a data set from your textbook, you can click that option that says data sets from your textbook. And for each chapter, it'll give you a whole bunch of data sets that correspond to it. If you're just opening it up for some other reason, you can just hit StatCrunch website and open StatCrunch. So either way, multiple options on how to get StatCrunch open to you. Again, StatCrunch is a really fantastic tool and will really save you a lot of time and really help you in this course. Under StatCrunch is data sets. This is another way to access the data sets that you use in this textbook. Under data sets is e-text content. So I mentioned that there's two ways you can have access to your e-textbook. One, if you have to click on the link in your homework because you're looking something up. The other part is here where it says e-text contents. You can find the chapter you're looking on. So say you want to take a look at chapter 7, chapter opener. And here's your textbook. You can jump around as you need, page to page, contents, if you need to search for something, audiobook, notebook, flashcards, different display settings, change it as you need it. I'll never know. Under the e-text context, there is something called study plan. If you feel like you need more practice than what I have provided for your homework, you can always go to the study plan. You select the option for all chapters and you're saying, man, I really need help on, say, chapter 4. And man, really outliers, I'm really struggling with outliers. So you can select outliers and it gives you more problems to practice with. So study plan doesn't hurt or affect your grade in any way, shape, or form. It's just there if you need more assistance. Video and resource library. Again, things that are available through the book's resources if you need them, want them. They are there for your help. Most of these, I think, here at the bottom, you don't have, so I would say don't worry about them. If you have any questions or stuck on anything, you've heard me say it once, you're going to hear me say it 1,000 times this semester. Definitely ask my help. I'll be happy to help you. So that is Pearson in a nutshell. Let's see. Let's go back to eCampus. I think we've covered everything here. I'm going to pull up my little PowerPoint list to make sure I know where. There is one thing I did not talk about, and that is where you can find your grades. So I don't have this link live, but under the tools section, you will be able to access your actually. I don't want to do that because that's going to show people's names and their information, and I don't want to do that because that could definitely be a violation of someone's privacy. But under tools, there will be a link that says my grades. I'm going to get rid of most of this because I don't think you really want to look at that. But there will be an option that says my grades. Ah, there it is. And it will have your grade on each of your assignments. And it'll let you know, of course, if it's upcoming, things of that nature. The total column, take with a grain of salt. It's the running total of the points you have. There are 1,000 points in this course. Weighted total kind of gives you a rough estimate of how you're doing in this course. Again, that one's going to be a grain of salt because one of the categories that I have separate from all the other ones. So like all the your exam 1, 2, and 3 are all in the same exam category. So that weighted total will give you an average of your exam grade to try to give you like an estimate of your final grade. But that final exam, which is 20% of your grade, doesn't come in until the end. So that weighted total will definitely be off. So I will try to periodically give you guys an update on what your grade is in this course, minimally, midterms, and finals. All right, so I think that's just about it. So I will be signing off here, and one more time this video, and it's how I end all my videos, but if you have any questions, please send me an email. I am happy to answer any questions you have. All right, have a good day and a good night.